Hey guys, I guess I want to start. Hey guys, for my first ever Minecraft video, I'm going to show you how to build a system with 4 different minecarts, and then you're going to use a system of levers to select which of the 4 minecarts you want, and then you hit a button and the minecart comes. So right now it's on minecart number 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I hit the button, and it sends only minecart number 4. So the minecart comes, I can do whatever I want with it, and then I send it back. And let's say I wanted to go to minecart number 1. So I'd have to switch this one and that one so that it goes over to number 1. So I switch this, and I switch that. So right now it's on cart number 1. So I come over here, and I turn it on, and it sends me minecart number 1. I can do whatever I want with it, hit the button, and it goes back. So how this all works, it's pretty simple in concept. The wiring was the hardest part for me. So you start with your tracks. Wherever you end it, you're going to put a power track and make sure it's going up and into a block. This block is necessary because when it returns, that block is what stops it. And also when it starts, it needs that block there, so then it will be at the angle and it will power down. Gravity will help it and it'll start and come towards the button. So underneath at each switcher, you're going to need to place a torch, and we're going to run wiring from these torches over to the levers. So underneath, I'll use this right one as this left one. I'll use this left one as an example. I have the torch, and it's running underneath the ground and over to the right lever. So you'll see right now it's lit, and if I flip this, it turns off and the track switches. So you're going to run a wiring for each of these individual ones. Next comes the what was the hardest part for me to figure out, how to get it so that if I select the second track via here, only the second one becomes powered. So to start, what you're going to do is, you can do this in any really way you want. I decided to build up just so it would have more room. So from the left lever, I put a redstone torch here, block, redstone torch, block. So all this does is whatever this is, this one will be repeated. So if I hit that, that one's off, this one's on. So you're going to do kind of the same thing. You're going to build out, and you're going to put redstone wiring, block with redstone torch. You really only need this one. I have this one here just for visual purposes. Redstone torch, or redstone wiring, redstone torch. So the important thing to note here is that if this one is on, that one's on, and if still getting a little used to flying, and if this one is off, this one's on. So right now the track is pointing to the left between 1 and 2. So you run a wire from here, and you run it down to the back, and you do have to use a repeater here, and you send it into the block next to the powered one, just like that. So what happens is if this is reversed, this one is powered, and it means it's pointing to the right, so we again follow it along and down into the second one. So you're going to do the same thing for the other side. You'll notice both of these are off right now. That's the other part of the plan, which I'll get to in a second. So I'll turn those ones on. So now, same thing kind of with the right side. If it's pointing to the left, we run this one to the left one. If it's pointing to the right, we run that one to the right one. So it's just the same concept, just on the other side. And the wiring gets a little funky, but that's basically all that it's doing in principle. Now from the middle one, aka the switcher between 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, what you're going to have to do is I ran it out, back, and I did the exact same thing. So if this one's on, that one will be on, and if that one's off, this one will be on. So right now the track is pointed to the right, so it's switching between 3 and 4, so I needed to find a way to turn off 1 and 2. So you turn off 1 and 2 is that this one is lit in the back. So you run it over and you run it into both of these. So the redstone torches start on, and then if they receive any power source, they go off. So right now, this one is on, which means that one should be on, but because it's receiving power, it turns off. This one was already off, so if you throw more power at it, it will stay off. It won't turn back on. So that's why it turns those off. And then if I go back here, and I switch it to between 1 and 2, there's no power in this line right here, which means that these behave as normal. So that's, and then you kind of do the same thing on the other side. So because right now it is pointing to the left, you need to turn off these two, so you run it out of this middle block, you run it over and into these, and again, that one's off, so this one should be on, but it's receiving power from here, so it turns off, and this one would normally be off, because it would be receiving power from there, but again it's receiving power, so it goes off. So that's really how to get the switcher, and then how to get them to stay in place is I put sticky pistons with blocks, and I put them 4 blocks high, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I put it down and over the spot in front of the carts, in front of the slant. It's important to put it in front and not too low, because if you try to go too low, it'll actually push the block down and it will destroy the track. But here it stops the cart, and it's a pretty good system. I believe you have to use a minecart, otherwise the cart will just slide under. But the way it is right now, it stops it. So then on top of those, I ran some wire, and running the wire around to a button. My computer's a little bit laggy. Oh, really laggy. Okay. So, and I needed to have them start in the on position. So what you want to do is you want to put a redstone torch there. And what happens is when you hit the button, it'll turn off that torch, which will turn off everything, and that will raise. And when you release the button, because it's not a toggle button, when you release the button, those will fall. And so then it'll raise up and it'll come back down. And then I also powered it to here. So when the cart so when you hit it, it lights up and it powers. But when the cart's coming, it turns off fast enough that it doesn't matter that this is powered, so it'll still act as a brake. But when the cart is here and you hit the button, it will power this, so then it will send it back. And the nice part is the cart can go through this block on the way up. It'll still stop. So right now we have cart number 2 selected. We'll hit the button, sends cart number 2, that turns off. And then when we send it back, it will go through that block right there, and it will stay. So the wiring is a little messy. I'm sure that you can clean up the wiring. You can put all sorts of blocks everywhere in between here just to make sure, or make it a little less visible. But you can put these levers anywhere, you can put the button anywhere, you can extend the track however far you want. You will have to run wiring from the levers to the switchers. You could and you will have to run wiring from the button over to the sticky pistons. But other than that, you can really take this and run with this any way you want. Thank you for watching, and I hope you learned something new.